In today's adventure of an episode, we're reading some more I Don't Work Here Lady. Gonna be a beautiful time, and I hope you guys are excited. And with that being said, enjoy, guys. I almost sold a rabbit to somebody while applying for a job, so I'm betting on the general assumption that somebody in dress clothes being mistaken for a store employee. In fact, I was actually applying for a job at this store, so I was also a guy in dress clothes typing away at a computer console, so a double threat for being mistaken as an employee. So I was hammering away on my application, which basically consisted of me copying my information from a random job application I carried with me to copy what I hadn't memorized, and I was making alright progress. Then somebody asked me, "Can I ask you a question about these rabbits?" I've had rabbits before as pets, so I didn't mind giving her some information just because she asked. So I continued with my application, and she continued to admire and talk to the rabbits. She asked me another few questions as I continued and was basically ready to adopt this pet just from my help. As I finished applying and started to put my things away, she asked if I could hold the rabbit she was interested in and was shocked when I told her that I didn't work there. I walked up to the counter, got the attention of an employee, and had them take over helping the lady. She didn't end up going for this rabbit as a pet, but she made sure to tell them I almost made a sale. I didn't get an interview, but had I got one, I had a funny story to tell if I did. Wow, that's so funny. They were gonna buy it if you did work there. Like, wait a second, you don't even work here? Forget the rabbit, I'm leaving. I like starting the episode with a wholesome post. Story number 2 is called That's My Hoodie, Not a Dog Leash. So this just happened. I, 38 female, have worked different retail and customer service jobs most of my life, and I've dealt with my share of entitled customers at work. I've even been mistaken as an employee at a bunch of different stores, but this one was my first confrontational experience as a customer. My daughter and I were at Wally World getting dog food and a couple of last minute ingredients for dinner. I'm loading a large bag of dog food while trying to keep a toddler entertained when it happened. An entitled Karen appeared, obnoxiously pink outfit, fake gaudy jewelry, badly dyed hair, and nails long enough to make a tiger jealous. I didn't even know she was there until I felt a sharp jab in the shoulder with the nails. I turned around to an expression that could curdle milk. I say, "Yeah, load 4 bags of dog food in my cart," she demanded, pointing at the 40-pound bags I just loaded into my cart. No please, no polite would you or could you, just a terse order like she was talking to someone so beneath her that she couldn't even be bothered to say anything else. I wasn't even slightly resembling a worker since I was wearing jeans and sneakers and a black hoodie from a local haunted house, not to mention my daughter in the cart next to me. Still, I wasn't in a rush and my daughter wasn't being fussy. If Karen had asked me nicely, I would have gladly helped. I've done that a bunch of times and I've always been glad to help, so long as I got a please and thank you from the person I'm helping. Instead, I just said, "I don't work here, I'm shopping." I was hoping that being direct and staying close to my daughter would show that I was busy. But no, her lip curled even harder and sounded insulted when she said, "So you're not going to help me?" I just said, "No, I need to finish my shopping," not wanting to risk getting caught up in one of many I don't work here lady stories that I've read. I grabbed my cart with my daughter and I started walking away. I just wanted us to get away from that situation ASAP. That was my mistake. Never turn your back on a rabid animal. I barely registered Karen's indignant huff before she grabbed me by the hood of my sweater and yanked it. It freaked me out from suddenly being choked. I'm somebody that's been trained in self-defense and martial arts, and I was raised around a bunch of bikers. Okay, I like where this is going. If maternal instincts weren't telling me to get my daughter out of danger, I probably would have done a lot more damage to the woman than I did. I swung my arm back as hard as I could to force her to let go. I made contact with something hard enough that she let go with a yelp, and I hightailed it to the front of the store to report what happened. The employees, manager, and security were on their game, and they immediately went looking for Karen as soon as I told them what happened and gave a description. Unfortunately, Karen was gone by the time they went looking for her. The manager still contacted police and a report was filed. I definitely wanted to press charges if I could. According to security, after I hit the woman's bracelet-covered wrist with my closed fist and ran off, she looked really upset and insulted, but then got an oh crap sort of look. She started looking around until she looked directly at a camera. Karen then grabbed her purse and sprinted out of the store, leaving her cart and groceries behind. I guess she wasn't a complete idiot after all and realized how badly she messed up. The manager promised to keep an eye out for her. The police said they'd contact me if needed. My hand got bruised from how hard I hit her, and she left a line on my neck from trying to choke me. My daughter had no idea that anything bad happened. She was giggling when I was running her and the cart to the front. The next day, I got a call from the officer that I talked to. Either Karen grew a conscience or somebody somebody forced her to turn herself in. She showed up at the police station the next day looking like a scalded puppy when she got there. The officer's description. The officer asked if I still wanted to press charges and said she'd likely get probation or community service. I told him that I did still want to. Part of me wonders, did she actually feel bad? Did her husband or wife or whatever ask her if she didn't have the dog food and force her to confess? Or did she come in so she wouldn't be arrested and get a lighter sentence? I don't know, I'm just surprised that she did. I can't believe not only that they talked to you the way that they did, but to grab your hoodie and yank on it. Yeah, hopefully they did realize how awful that is. Oh, that's so gross. I'm sorry, OP. When you're out doing your shopping, you don't want to have to worry about stuff like this happening. Like God, people have got enough to worry about, let alone stuff like this. The next one is called Karen didn't believe the correct directions, so I gave her terrible directions. This happened probably 30 years ago, before GPS was in every car. This might not fit this subreddit, but it seems to be in keeping with many of the other stories. I grew up near a flea market that was extremely popular. It was located in a rural area about 45 minutes outside a major metropolitan area, and in the summer, the lines to get into the parking lot would be backed up a half mile or more. The market was open on Tuesdays and Saturdays. Selling frozen fruit bars from a cart there during the summer was my first job. I rode my bike there, and I knew it was exactly 1 mile from our driveway to their driveway. On the same road, there was one intersection with a stop sign in the middle. One Tuesday after school had started, my sister and I were outside waiting for the bus. This woman rolls to a stop in front of us and asked if we knew how to get to the flea market. I told her it was a mile that way, pointing in the correct direction. She says they've already been that way, so I repeated, it's a mile that way. There's one stop sign that you need to go through, but it's on the same road that we're on. She starts screaming that they've already been that way and asking why I'm lying to her. So I apologized and said I was sorry for trying to mess with her. Side note, I was really good with maps and geography, and I spent a lot of my early teenage years riding my bike all over the area I grew up. So I then proceeded to give her a made-up set of turns going the opposite direction that would take her probably 25 minutes away, knowing our bus would pick us up in a minute or two. They were complicated enough that she had to get out a pen and paper and write them down, and she'd have a hard time backtracking to us even if she wanted to, and I was confident that she believed I wasn't BSing her. My mum came out after the woman left and asked what was up. I said, just another lost tourist looking for the flea market. Wow, that's hilarious. And good on you, OP. This is completely fair enough. They're screaming at you for no reason. They deserve to get taken in the wrong direction. Like, oh yeah, you know, it's that way. Keep on driving in that direction for a long time. You'll eventually get there. That's so funny. The next one is called No Can Do, They Said Everyone. This one happened to me a couple of years back. I was down in Georgia camping for a spring vacation, and I happened to be wearing a nice red polo shirt and wandered into Target to pick up a few gifts for my family back up in Canada. While perusing the back shelves, a harried looking Target manager runs up to me and tells me to get in the back. I try to tell him, hey, I don't work here, and he interrupts me with a, I don't care what you're doing, get in the back, and then basically dragged me into the back area and over to one of the office conference rooms for a presentation from a regional executive. There were a lot of people in that office, and it seemed like that Target had called in everybody who would normally be off shift into the office for this meeting, so they had a lot of people that some managers had never interacted with before. I'm guessing that's why I got dragged in. It was obvious to me that anybody I made eye contact with knew that I didn't work there, since they were all laughing and bewildered like, what the hell am I doing here? Look at me, I'm wearing the wrong pants. Then the executive rolled in and ran an hour-long presentation about some variety of performance metrics, some new fast business action plan or something that I tuned right out. I probably could have left if I actually made a real effort, but it would have caused a stink and definitely made the store look inept in front of their big boss, and I'm not much of an a-hole. Also, the meeting was catered, so I took advantage of the free lunch. After it was done, we all filed out. I headed off to buy my purchases, and the cashier glanced at my shirt and gave me the employee discount. Edit, just to clarify, I was being Canadian when I said I was dragged. The manager didn't physically drag me in. He glared at me and kept on telling me to hurry up, so I was bound to social convention to follow him and see whatever hilarity this was going to lead to. So my instincts are telling me that this didn't happen, but I feel like it did happen. Like, OP is so polite, they just sat through the entire thing. That's hilarious. Like, yeah, I'm not meant to be here, but it's okay. I don't want to make Target look bad, so I'm gonna stay. That's so awesome. The next one is called I Used to Work Here. This insane woman followed me around TJ Maxx last week, insisting that I help her find a dress in her size, and asked if we had it in the back. I ignored her because I had no idea she was talking to me. She kept on pestering me until I realized Hagatha was talking to me. When I told her I didn't work there, she called me a filthy liar because she recognized me. When I told her I worked there 8 years ago, she still insisted I help her. I walked away, and this 70-something-year-old woman proceeded to act like a toddler toddler and have a tantrum. She didn't even believe the manager when he said I wasn't an associate. Thank God I got out of retail. The nutjobs flocked to TJ Maxx for some reason. Yeah, stuff like this is the most annoying stuff that we read. You're telling them that you don't work there, and they're telling you that you do work there. Like, I'm pretty sure somebody knows if they work at a place. If they're telling you they don't work there, they're probably telling the truth. Yeah, I don't even know how I'd react if I was in a situation like this. Like, what are you talking about? I know where I work, okay? The next one is called walking a lady around work after I clock out. So this happened a little bit ago. I was working at Walmart during the evening shift, 1 to 10 p.m. I've seen a lot of crap while I worked here. When you work there, the people of Walmart honestly become ingrained in your memory. So this one night I clock out and I'm shopping around a bit before I go home. Still wearing my vest, but I have a coat over it. It's when I see this really gentle old lady who's walking around. She sees I'm wearing my vest and asks me in a very polite yet delightfully southern sassy way, "Excuse me, young man, can you help me find the hairspray?" Now, I didn't work the floor, but work anywhere long enough and you'll know where a fair bit of stuff is. I decided I can spare a few minutes and tell her. Of course, it's over in pharmacy. I can show you if you'd like. She took me up on the offer and I helped her find the hairspray as we talked. She was a hoot. She was telling me about how she was a retired police officer back in the day and how she was riding with a local biker club. I know them and they're super nice people with a lot of older people. I help her find a handful of other things as we just talk. She told me about her late husband who was always the best little crap to her and that she still loves him and can't wait to meet him after. Oh, that's so beautiful. She was really happy talking about him. She also told me about her daughter's wedding the week before and how she's going to have a nephew soon. After a bit of the amazing conversation, she says that she was going to go check out and thanked me repeatedly, and I told her I was happy to help and was going home myself. She looked a bit embarrassed that I was actually clocked out, but I shot that down with being really happy to just talk with her, and I thanked her for keeping me company. I know it's not like the other stories of self-entitled rude people, but it was really nice and I wanted to share. Oh, that's beautiful, and I'm so happy you did, OP. We needed this in today's episode. That's so lovely, and yeah, that wouldn't have happened if you said no. Good on you for helping them out, OP. You sound like a legend, and so do they. The next one is called What Are You Gonna Do, Fire Me? I was shopping at Target. Mind you, I was wearing a blue shirt and sweatpants, nothing even close to the red and khaki that we all know. It was slow with very few people. A total Karen comes around the corner with a very rude and loud, "Excuse me." I ignore her since there's no reason why I need to acknowledge her. She comes even closer to me while shoving my cart down the aisle and says, "I need you to grab that box for me now." I just laugh at her and I say no. I'm short, 4'11", but would try to help a stranger reach the highest shelved items if they ask kindly, but this lady was just too rude to engage. Anyway, she says, "You're just standing there going back and forth in the aisles pretending like you're busy. Wait, so why do they feel like you work here? It'd be so obvious that you don't work there. So confusing." I told her, and at this point I'm thoroughly amused by her absurd and rude demeanor. Duh, I gotta do all of my shopping while I'm here. I'm not going home without the stuff I need. And of course she proceeds to say, "Listen, young lady, you're not gonna get away with speaking to me like that." The young lady was the most amusing because it was absolutely an on-brand condescending thing to say. So I told her, "If you can find my manager, you should tell him that. I bet she won't have a problem with me shopping right now." So she storms off like I had hoped at this point. I decided it was time to find out if she found my manager. She found a manager and I walk near them. She points at me and tells the person, "That's her. She was disrespectful and refused to help me so she can shop." I had to give it all I had not to burst out laughing. The manager said, "Ma'am, she's a customer here as well. She does not work here." So instead of admitting to being a jackass, she asked, "Well, then why did you try to tell me to get your manager?" I simply and calmly said, "The offer still stands. Go out and find my manager and tell them everything." Megan, manager's name tag, isn't my manager. I was proud of myself for this one. I get passive aggressive and sometimes rude when people are like this, and I end up regretting it later and wishing that I had more tact. My calmness in the situation pissed her off most, I believe. It got me thinking a few days afterwards as well. I live in a touristy destination, and while most people are delightful, there is a small population of out-of-touch people who think that everybody is there to serve them, but I suppose that's the case everywhere. But these people were particularly on my mind at this moment. I was shopping at the local grocery outlet for some batteries. Quick trip. I'm browsing batteries and looking at my options as this one lady passed 3 employees to bark an order at me over not being able to find a ladle. Now, grocery outlet is one of those stores that may or may not have odds and ends, like ladles, and that's just the nature of it, but I digress. I think the barking triggered me, so I said, probably a little too rudely, "What makes you think I work here?" She tried to pretend like she didn't just bark something at me and started to walk away, so I said, "No, I want to know what about about me made you think that shopping is the last possible reason that I could be here?" She walked away sheepishly. I get a phone call from my partner a few minutes later while I was waiting in checkout, and I tell him what just happened. As she and her family are in line behind me, while talking on the phone, I'd said, "These people have the audacity to bark at people, and they literally think that any warm body is there to serve them. We need to promote employees to be rude back, because it's not like these employees will be nice anyway, since they just jump into barking orders without a please or thank you or hello." And then I said my phone goodbye and I hung up to move to the cashier. I look at the family and I tell the mum, "If you still can't find a ladle, they're right over there," points to the aisle. It's one of literally 2 grocery stores in the country, so I have spent many days shopping the whole store, and I'm pretty familiar with its setup. She just shrugs it off and her husband sheepishly laughed it off and then said, "Oh, it's okay. It's not that important. No worries." I said, "Really?" It almost seemed like it was life or death the way that y'all asked me. Again, maybe I was out of line there, but there's no reason why anybody should approach anybody, especially employees, like that. A third time I was shopping at Ulta and I noticed a lady following me down each aisle. She finally approached me and said, "Excuse me, but I need help finding insert item here." I told her, "I don't work here, but I'm happy to help find it together." And she said, "Sure, maybe until I run into somebody that works here." And we proceeded to browse a couple of aisles and had a lovely brief discussion about our favorite skincare items. So it's not being asked for help or thinking that I work there, but how it's asked. Some people think they can talk down to anybody and they use somebody else's employment as leverage to get away with speaking to people like that. I support, as somebody in the service industry as well, a movement to not necessarily be rude to customers, but to mirror their behavior, take away their power. I'm not even bothered if somebody is short with me or even not cordial, but don't be straight up rude. Oh my god, yeah, definitely OP. It's awful. And when people do come up to you and they act like that, yeah, that's right, you should respond back in the same sort of way. Why the hell should you be all polite to them if they're treating you awfully? Yeah, nah, definitely not. Okay, time to read something wholesome. I hope you enjoyed that episode, guys. I just heard my mum say, "You're very naughty," and then another softer, "Okay, but next time there'll be consequences," and then another meow, and then "You're right, probably not." Oh, cats are so beautiful. Like, no, you're right, there's not going to be consequences. You're too cute. Pets are so weird. Like, it's this little individual that lives in your house, and you can't even speak to each other, but you're best friends. Yeah, isn't it wild? You have a little creature in your house. Like, what are you, you fluffy angel? Choose your fighter. Definitely the banana dog. I don't know why, but I have a feeling. A fruit fetching dog? That's incredible. This little girl thought a bride that she saw on the street was the princess from her book, and I'm crying. Oh, that's so sweet. Like, oh my god, it's you? That's really wholesome and a good spot to end the video. Thank you for watching, guys. I hope you had a wonderful time. And if you did and you want to see more episodes like this, make sure you like and subscribe. And the comment of the day today goes to Just Someone Hi. I made it early. This is going to be great. Oh, thank you, Just Someone Hi. I really appreciate the support. You enjoy my videos enough to get to them early. That is so cool and I really appreciate it. And yeah, guys, thank you all for your support. Make sure you look after yourself and make sure you have a beautiful, amazing rest of your day. And you know what I'm about to say because I say it every single day. Bye!